Hello everybody and welcome back to Crazy Bees. My name is Debbie if you're new, and if you are coming back to see what we're up to, welcome. Today we're going to make some chicken corn chowder. I always have Tom doing the chicken out on the smoker. I just love the flavor of that. And it always comes in handy during the week when we're just coming home from work and we already have that meat cooked, and it just is a dinner helper to get something started. I was going to do corn chowder, but then Tom was like, why don't I just do some chicken and we can add some chicken to it? And I was like, that sounds great. So he did that, and then in the recipe it calls for a red bell pepper, and I just went into the refrigerator and I thought I had one and I didn't. But I had some that I had frozen previously, some peppers, not red peppers, but a mix of all different types of peppers. So instead of it just being red peppers, it's going to be red, yellow, green, orange, very colorful. So, and I love my dishes colorful. So we needed the pepper, and then we need an onion. So I'm going to dice this up and put it in my chopper, get that all chopped up, and then we're going to put it on the stove to saute. So what I also did when I was in the freezer, I was looking for chicken broth because I'm like, I don't think I have enough chicken broth for this recipe, and I did have some that was frozen. So I'm defrosting that right now. But then I asked Candace on the way home from work, it's like, what do you think about green drinks tomorrow? And she's like, that's a great idea. And then I was like, oh no, I don't have any coconut water, which is what I usually use in my green drinks. And I was out in the freezer and I'm like, why not use my prickly pear puree that I still have a ton of left in the freezer? So I'm going to leave this out to thaw. It's probably going to take several hours. I might even leave it out overnight to thaw. And I'm going to use this as the juice for the base of our green drinks. And I'll show you what those are in the morning. But the prickly pear juice is full of antioxidants, anti-inflammatories. It's so good for you. So we're going to use that in the morning instead of the vitamin water, or not vitamin water, but the coconut water for our smoothies in the morning. So that'll be a good breakfast. So I'm going to start chopping up these onions. All right, now that we have our onions and our peppers on the stove, we need to peel some potatoes. Now, if you were to use the yellow Yukon Golds, you would not have to peel your potatoes, but I am using my russets that I have, so I need to peel mine. And I was very disappointed because I just picked these up and I opened the bag and there was one already and they're rotten. And when one potato goes rotten, it's not far behind that the rest of them start getting rotten. And the smell is just, I'm sure I don't need to tell you what the smell is like for rotten potatoes. I did find that I don't like putting my potato peels in the compost because amazingly enough, they just start growing plants. So I keep potato peels and tomato seeds out of my compost right now. So we're going to get these peeled and cubed and in the pot. So you're going to want your potatoes about the size that you would in a soup. When you do your mashing, you know, you have a bigger potato. That's how I was starting to do it, and I'm like, no, I don't want big chunks like that in my soup. So you want a smaller dice on, unless you like a bigger potato in your soup, then that's what you do. So the other night we were doing a quick dinner, and so we just pulled some corn out of a can. So we're going to use that up because we had that left over. And then we are going to use our sweet corn that we had frozen, and I'm going to cut this off the cob. This sweet corn was so tasty, and it still is. When we put it on the grill, it is just delicious. It's going to make a great addition to the soup. We're just going to tear off the kernels here. Get them broken up. Okay, we're at the stove. I've added some bacon bits to my pot, and we're going to add some garlic. I'm cheating tonight and just using some minced garlic that I had in the fridge.
Cheat.
Cheat. Okay, we're going to get that mixed in. We don't want that to burn. Then we're going to take a 1/4 cup of flour, and we're going to coat these onions, peppers, bacon, and garlic. We just want to toast that flour. And I have a nice bunch of bits at the bottom of this pan that are going to loosen up when we put our liquids in here. Okay, so now we're going to add 3/4 teaspoon of pepper. One teaspoon of table salt. 3/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Excuse me, yeah, a teaspoon. And then 1/2 teaspoon of mustard. We're going to mix all that in there. Now we are going to add our 4 cups of chicken broth. I want to shake this up a little bit. And now I have the option of doing a cup of water, a cup of whole milk, and a cup of heavy cream. But instead of that water, I'm going to use another cup of the chicken broth. But first I want to get all of those bits up off of the base of this pot. And get all that flavor mixed in with that chicken broth. Okay, now let's do one more cup of chicken broth here. Just a little bit shy, so I'll use the stuff that I had defrosted. I'll get that mixed in there. Then we still need that 1 cup of milk. And that cup of heavy cream. Then we're going to add our potatoes. Then we're going to add 2½ cups of that sweet corn. I ended up with a little bit more than that, so I need to measure that out. Not too much. I have a little bit left over. I'm going to dice up that cooked chicken that we have and put that in here. In the original recipe, it calls for you to just put in raw chicken. But since I have the chicken that is already cooked, I don't have to worry about getting it in here right away. But I do want to get it in here to get it warmed thoroughly. So we'll get this started, and then I'm going to work on that chicken, and then we'll add that to this pot. It looks beautiful. Okay, here is our chowder so far. And now we are going to add that chicken. Let's get that stirred in there. Doesn't that look delicious? Now we're going to cover this up and bring it up to temperature. Okay, right now we have everything mixed in and it is coming up to a boil, and then we are going to have to make sure that those potatoes are cooked thoroughly through, and then after that we are going to take half of that mixture, put it in a blender. You can also use an immersion blender, but I like doing the Vitamix. I will take half of that out. I will put it in the Vitamix and blend it up and then re-add it back to the soup, which is going to give it a more creamy texture. Okay, our potatoes are tender. Now I am going to take several scoops of this and just put it right into this blender. Now this is very hot, so you want to be very careful when you do this. Make sure everything's on tight. Make sure it's on low, and I just pulse. And then I let it go. And what this is going to do is give this soup a nice cream base. So now we're going to add this back to the pot. Don't want to miss any of that deliciousness in there. I agree, Bentley. Okay, we'll stir this back up. Then we're going to get ready to serve. We are ready to serve this up. How delicious that is. This is so hearty. You can choose oyster crackers, whatever you want to serve this with. We have to have our cheese. So we're going to put a little bit of cheese on here. And I went out to the garden and grabbed some chives. So we're going to add just a little bit of chives on top.